Hi there folks, in case you missed part 1 of this video where I talk about Ubisoft, Bethesda, Xbox, all that goodness, then go ahead, click this video right here. But if you just want to see my reaction to the Sony videos, then here it comes right now. But okay, that's it for Xbox. Let's move in now to the Sony side, and the first thing I want to talk about with Sony is that Final Fantasy is getting into Pokemon? Yeah, you guys thought I was going to say something else about Final Fantasy. I'll get to that, don't worry. But no, there's this new game, Final Fantasy World, which... yeah, man, you just made Pokemon. Don't pretend like you didn't, which, hey, that's fine, that's cool, but yeah, you got these two little kids, and they're running around, and you get to meet the monsters from all the Final Fantasy games, and you can get them to fight on your side, and you can even get them to grow really big in battle into a new form. Brother, you made Pokemon. I'm sorry, but you did. Which is fine. I love me some Pokemon. I will play anything Pokemon-ish, so I am down with this. And here's the thing that made me really interested in. I like this idea that you can make your little small animals grow into really big super versions, but then there comes a point in which you can actually bring out the heroes. Like you see Cloud in there, and he's in his little tiny chibi form. I'm like, can you mega evolve Cloud in this? Can you like make big buff super evolved versions of the heroes from your other Final Fantasy games? I would be interested in seeing what you can do with this. Next up, you guys know that I'm a big fan of Street Fighter, and of course the big announcement that came from this is that Ryu is in Smash Bros. Yes, I know that happened yesterday, but it's still the big news for me. But they did announce some new characters for Street Fighter V, and I made a list of all the characters I want to see in Street Fighter V, and these two characters were not in there. But one of them is Cammy, and I like Cammy. Cammy's a great character, but let's be honest, guys, this is a Street Fighter game. You could have announced Cammy was in here by just saying it's a Street Fighter game. We knew she was going to be in here, but we got to see her gameplay, and oh my god, that looks tight. That is actually some really cool gameplay for Cammy. She is, like, I love how detailed they're getting with these super moves in here. But okay, I got 4 more stories from the Sony press conference that I want to talk about, and these are all really big stories that I'm excited to mention. First off being that The Last Guardian is not dead. It's alive. So, yeah, I was wrong about that. To everyone out there who said, no, Last Guardian's coming back, and I was like, nah, brother, give it up. I'm sorry, you were right. I admit I was wrong. It's still around, and we actually got to see some gameplay footage from this, and oh my gosh, wow. This gameplay footage is tense. Like, this is the guy who made, you know, Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, and he knows how to make really tense action puzzle adventures is the best way I can think of saying it, which is like there's no real combat, but it is like you have to run around giant courses and your life is depending on it just to move things in the real world, and it's definitely going to be that same kind of gameplay again. And the moment in that trailer when that kid jumps, the first time it happens is like, okay, the dog is going to grab it, and the dog grabbed it. The second time when he jumped, and you see the dog go for it, and it's like, oh my god, no, he missed. It's like, are you actually going to end your trailer with the kid dying? What is wrong with you? But then that tail swings around, and the kid grabs onto it. I honestly have to wonder, is that like a thing? Like, is that like a gameplay mechanic in which the dog knows to swing his tail like that? Or did the tail just happen to be there, and the kid is capable of grabbing it whenever they want? I know there's like a small difference between those two, but it can mean a lot for the upcoming gameplay. But I absolutely love seeing how the dog interacts with... This is a dog-heavy episode. Did I mention there's a dog in Fallout 4? But I love how the doggy griffin thing interacts with the kid, and how it really does look like teamwork. It does really make you bond instantly with this creature because it is working with you perfectly. Although, speaking of that, sorry to bum anyone out, but I'm going to put my money down on the table right now. There is no way this game is not going to end with that dog not dying. I hate saying it, but yeah, as I watched this, I was like, they're going to kill that dog. They're totally going to do that at the end of this game. And I will cry. Okay, next up, we got a 7-minute long gameplay trailer for Uncharted. And listen, I absolutely love the Uncharted games. I do. As I said, I was going to come back to it eventually. I have so much fun with these games. And I was watching the gameplay, and I was like,
yeah, man, it's just Uncharted again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Uncharted, but, you know, I wanted you to show me something different in this, and this isn't anything different. And then the trailer kept going, and going, and going, and every single minute that passed in this trailer, I just kept going, oh, wow, like a little bit louder, because every single minute that passed, it just got more impressive with how far you can go in this. Like when he jumps into the car and it starts driving, first off, there's no like lag at all. Like if this is actual gameplay footage and this is not like just a really well-made trailer you put out for this, if that is actual gameplay, you might have just been the most impressive trailer of the year to me. Alright, I know people are going to argue with that, but for me personally, my mind is blown. Because when you are driving through it, and you see like you have been driving for 5 minutes at like 60 miles an hour down a mountain through a town, and there's still like little huts with villagers just running around. You didn't make a game, you made a world that you're going to get to mess up as Nathan Drake, and I look forward to that. Also, I find it very interesting that Sully is still there, because everybody kind of had the theory that, you know, Nate's a little bit older in this, so everybody was kind of going, oh, where's Sully? We haven't seen him yet. Could Sully be dead in this one? Turns out Sully is still alive. So, kudos to that, because Sully is one of my favorite characters in that game. By the way, if that Uncharted movie ever comes back up in the talks, Bruce Campbell for Sully. I ain't budging on that one. Okay, last two pieces of news. Final Fantasy VII is getting an HD remake. What am I, class? Excita hesitant. Yes, it's the word I've been using non-stop for the past 2 weeks about everything. I am excited because, hey, Final Fantasy VII is finally coming out in the HD remake like we have all been asking. We have all been asking for this to happen. And that's also why I'm kind of nervous about this. Because... yeah, here's the thing. I remember when they first kind of teased that idea of an HD remake, when they were showing off exactly what the PlayStation 3 could do as far as graphics, and they used like a little clip from Final Fantasy VII. It was like, hey, here's what it looks like if we had done it like this. And then everybody was like, so you're going to do that, right? And they're like, no, we ain't gonna do that. We got other games to make. We got so many other things going on right now. We don't even have time to think about making a Final Fantasy VII remake. And then Final Fantasy 13 didn't do that well. And then they made a sequel and didn't do that well. And then they made a trilogy and did really, really poorly, critically and sales-wise. And then this Final Fantasy 15 coming out, it's like nobody even knows when that's coming out, and we haven't seen squat on that in so long. And now they're just like, hey guys, guess what? We're making Final Fantasy 7 in HD. This to me seems less like a, oh yeah, it is time to celebrate Final Fantasy 7, and more like a, hey guys, remember us? We're still kind of cool. You like us, right? Here's that thing you always wanted. So I am kind of nervous hearing about this as far as the future of Square Enix goes. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm still gonna look forward to the game. This is still great. I'm glad it's happening no matter what the reason behind it is. However, if next year at E3, when you give us the gameplay trailer for this, and you tell us all about what the game will be like, if you come out and say, listen, we know that everybody loved Final Fantasy VII for the story, so in order to make the story more enjoyable, we streamlined the whole thing and took out all the side quests. If you do that, and you come out and you say, listen, turn-based battles was fine back in the day, but this ain't your daddy's Final Fantasy VII. No, we took out the turn-based battles, and now it's just a live action, running around, hacking stuff. I swear to God, you do that, I will make my own Final Fantasy VII, and I don't care if I have to use stuffed animals to hack the whole thing out. I'll do it. I'm too sick to be making threats like that. Okay, so this is it. The final story that I wanted to talk about. Before I get into that, let me give you a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at what I've been working on here at the Thorgy compound. I've been working on a new Thorgy's 10 video, which is all about the top 10 video games that need a sequel. And after this announcement, I need to remake it with a brand new number 3 spot. Because for the longest time, people have been asking for a Shenmue number 3 for the final installment of the Shenmue franchise. Because let me give you guys a little bit of a history lesson. Back when the Dreamcast came out, right at the turn of the last century, which, wow, that makes me feel old. But right when that came out, there was a game called Shenmue, and if you look at it now, it's probably not that impressive, but back then, it was doing things for story and video games that we had not seen. It was such an impressive display of story and gameplay working together, and it had such a great story to it, and it went from 1 into 2, and they kept saying, oh, and it all wraps up in number 3. Number 3 is going to be the big one. And then the Dreamcast crumbled into dust in time and just blew away. That was it. That was your Dreamcast right there. And Shenmue was gone with it. And we've been asking this whole time, it's like, alright, so Nintendo's going to pick this up, right? Nintendo's going to be there for Sega, right? Or someone else is going to pick it up? And it went on for so long that, listen, like The Last Guardian, we all thought this was dead. Dang, man, between this and The Last Guardian, this is the time of not only dogs, but also games you thought was dead were coming back. But then here, at the end of E3, they come out and they say, hey, Shenmue, it's alive. And we're going to make it. If you give me $2 million. This is weird, isn't it? Okay, first off, I'm excited that Shenmue is coming out. I am really excited about that. And before I get into the weird part of this, let me just talk about Shenmue coming back. But not to everyone out there. I want to talk to someone specifically about this. Nintendo. You know what I mean? Let's have a little bit of a heart-to-heart here, Nintendo. Nintendo, listen, hey, big fan. I love you guys. You're great. You need more games. And I know you just made your Splatoon. Hey, great. Hats off to you for Splatoon. It is a lot of fun. Well done. You still need more games. I don't care where you get them from. You need more games. And Sega has a butt ton of game franchises. A ton of game franchises right there. Right for the taking. But the longer you wait to take some of their games, the more of them split off and go off in their own distance. And Sega is basically just sleeping on your couch at this point, and you can make them give you whatever you want them to give you. And Shenmue has had a loyal fan base that has been asking for it to come back for a long, long time, and you didn't jump at that? Brother, it was right there in your grasp, and you were just like, nah, whatever, I don't care. This is a massive thing, and it's like, you just let that slip out through your fingers? Listen, your conference is in like 9 hours from when I'm recording this. I had better see something about Skies of Arcadia 2 and Jet Set Radio 3 at your conference. That's all I'm saying. I don't care if it is just a doodle on a napkin. I want to see that. Okay, sorry Nintendo. See you tomorrow. But getting into the weird part of all this is, as far as I know, this is the first time I've ever heard about a Kickstarter campaign being announced at E3. And not like just someone going on going, hey man, I've got a Kickstarter going on if you want to fund it. No, like this was the big announcement going on at this. Like they stopped the whole thing to go, hey man, remember this game from 15 years ago? Yeah, pony up that dough at my Kickstarter for it. It's like, what the fudge? This is weird. And don't get me wrong, I will pay for Shenmue, and I'm going to actually make a whole video about this later, a whole weekly geekly report all about this, and also about Mighty Number 9, and also about that Banjo-Kazooie ripoff thing, and also about the new Castlevania game coming up. This is a newsworthy thing, alright, and it deserves to be talked about, so I will make its own video. But yeah, man, this proves one thing to me, is that people love these games. They absolutely do. They want to see these games come back, and I don't know why game companies out there are just going, yeah, nobody wants that, just push that to the side. But the game developers, the guys who actually made these games, are like, no, it has a fan base. People wanted to see more of this, and you're stopping me from doing it because you think the future of video games is just more dudes with guns. And so I love seeing this. I love seeing these developers go, listen man, they're not giving me the money for this and you want it, so you give me the money for it and I will get to make it as best as I can for you. And as I am saying this, as I am recording this right now, I'm looking at the screen on this right now, this was announced like, I don't know, maybe 6 hours ago from when I'm recording this, maybe, you know, max like 7 or 8 hours ago. It needed $2 million to be funded. I'm watching this go up as I speak. It is at 16,016 backers with $1,361,264 donated. This is going to be funded before I wake up in the morning, alright? Let's make no bones about it. This thing is getting funded. Here's how much people wanted this game. There is someone out there who actually pledged $10,000. Wait, back that up. There's 4 people out there who pledged $10,000, 3 of whom won a dinner with Yu Suzuki at the Shenmue script set, and another guy who just won the original jacket of the protagonist from this thing. That is how much people wanted to see this happen. By the way, did I bring up that I want Jet Set Radio 3 and Skies Over Arcadia 2? Just bringing that back up. I will pay money for that, alright? I will pay $200 for Skies of Arcadia 2. Not even kidding. Flat out saying that right now. I know I've totally gone away from the point of this video. I just really want to stress that. But yeah, I'm going to get into a lot more detail about this when I actually make the Weekly Geekly Report episode all about this whole Kickstarter and gaming thing. But for now, once again, this is fantastic to me. Although, I don't know how I feel about E3 possibly just turning into a bunch of developers coming forward and trying to make their pitch for why you should spend money on their games. Although, as I just said that, I realized that's what it already is. Never mind, take back that statement. But okay, that's it for the day 1 coverage. As always, in all my videos, I have a question for you guys. Leave it in the comments below. Very simple today. What game from the day 1 announcements are you looking forward to the most? Leave that below. And also, if you like this video, please hit subscribe. I'm trying to hit that 1,000 viewer mark by the end of this month, and it is totally doable. Fingers crossed. But also, you know, as always, share, thumb up, you know the deal. So, if you want to see more E3 stuff, come back tomorrow. I will have the Nintendo announcements, and also, you can click that box right there, in which it has my reaction to the Smash Bros. News that came out yesterday on E3 Day 0, we will call it. But, thank you guys very much, and oh my god, it gained over 100 new supporters in the time it took me to say that outing. Thanks, everybody. Jeez, I'm just gonna watch this all night. This is the greatest video game of all time. Watching some dude get rich. Bye, everyone.